You ever have one of those brilliant ideas? You know, the kind that keeps you up at night. A new app, a community project, maybe even just finally planning that huge trip. But then, somewhere along the way, it just kind of fizzles out. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the one skill that turns those big, ambitious visions into a finished reality: project management. It's a story we all know way too well, right? A project kicks off with all this energy and excitement, everyone's on the same page, and then, boom, chaos. Deadlines start to feel like suggestions, the budget gets creative, and that crystal clear vision you started with gets lost in the fog. So what is going on? Why is it so incredibly hard to just get things done? And look, this isn't just a feeling. It's a real documented problem. For years, the IT world especially had a brutal track record. This number, 31.1%, represents the share of IT projects that were just canceled before they ever saw the light of day. Think about that. All that time, all that money, all that brain power, just gone.
So why does this happen? Well, it almost always boils down to one single core challenge. You see, every single project, I don't care if it's building a skyscraper or launching a podcast, is basically a high-wire balancing act. You're juggling these powerful competing forces, and if you lean just a little too far one way, the whole thing comes crashing down.
And that is where project management comes in. It's the antidote to the chaos. It's a structured way of thinking, a framework that gives you the knowledge, the skills, and the tools to tame that chaos and steer your idea all the way to the finish line. At the very heart of this framework is a concept called the triple constraint. Now, the best way to think about this is like a three-legged stool. You've got scope, that's all the work you promised to do. You've got time, that's your deadline. And you've got cost, your budget. Now here's the magic. If you change one leg, say you add more work to the scope, you have to adjust the other two. If you don't, that stool gets wobbly and fast.
Okay, I can practically hear you thinking it. That's great, but you're forgetting the most important part. What about quality? And that is the perfect question, because the answer is one of the coolest, most elegant ideas in this whole field.
See, quality isn't a fourth leg on the stool. It's the stability of the stool itself. Quality is what you get as a result of perfectly balancing scope, time, and cost. A high-quality project isn't one that just has extra bells and whistles. It's one that delivers exactly what was promised, right on time and right on budget.
So how do we actually achieve that perfect balance? Well, it all starts with a plan, a really good one. Because let's be honest, a project without a plan is just a wish. This is all about creating that master blueprint before you even start so you can bring some serious order to that chaos.
And that master plan really kicks off with two absolutely critical steps. First, you have to define your scope. And I mean really define it. You write down everything that is included in the project and, just as important, everything that is not. Then you take that scope and you create something called a work breakdown structure, or a WBS.
Think of the WBS as the recipe for your project. You take the final product, the finished meal, and you break it down into every single ingredient, every single prep step, every single cooking instruction. This document is the absolute foundation for everything else. Your schedule, your budget, who does what, everything. And here's what that looks like in the real world. A huge, intimidating goal like build a new internet gets broken down into big chunks like concept and design. Then, those get broken down into even smaller, totally doable tasks like evaluate current systems or develop sitemap. All of a sudden, this massive undertaking feels, well, manageable. All right, so you've got this beautiful, perfect plan. But we all know that old saying, right? No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Or, in this case, with reality. So once the work actually starts, how do you navigate the maze of daily challenges and stay on track? This is where the project manager's toolkit really comes into play. Yeah, there are technical tools like Gantt charts, which are awesome for visualizing your timeline. But honestly, the most critical tools are about people. Managing your stakeholders, spotting risks before they blow up, and of course, leading your team. Let's just pause on stakeholders for a second, because this is so important and so often overlooked. A stakeholder is literally any person who was involved in or affected by your project. And let me tell you, keeping them happy, informed, and managed, that can single-handedly make or break your project. And just look at how wide this net is cast. It's not just your boss and your client.
It's the person funding the whole thing, the IT staff who have to support it later, your suppliers. And get this, even people who actively oppose your project are stakeholders. You have to know who they are and manage their influence. A great trick is to map them out. Who has high power and high interest? Keep those people very, very close.
Now, everything we've talked about so far, this idea of a big, upfront master plan, is fantastic for predictable projects, like building a house. But what about projects where you're kind of inventing things as you go, like developing brand new software?
For those projects where you can't possibly know all the answers up front, a whole new way of thinking was born. And that's Agile. Agile is a philosophy designed from the ground up to embrace uncertainty. Instead of fighting change, it welcomes it.
And the difference is huge. Think of it like this. Traditional project management is like building something from a detailed architect's blueprint. Everything is decided before you hammer a single nail. Agile is more like sculpting. You start with a lump of clay and an idea. You work in short bursts, you show your progress to the customer constantly, and you refine it together, over and over, until it's perfect.
So, at the end of the day, whether you're using a traditional blueprint or an agile learn-as-you-go approach, the big idea is the same. Project management isn't just a job title, it's a mindset. It's a powerful set of skills for bringing order to chaos and turning any complex idea into a finished success.
And the payoff for getting this right? It's massive. You get way better control over your money and resources. Things get done faster. Your customers are happier because they're part of the process. The quality of the work shoots up. And maybe best of all, the people on your team are actually happier and more motivated. It just makes the whole experience better for everyone. So I'll leave you with this question. Think about your own life, right now. Your career, your personal goals, your dreams. What's that one big thing you really want to achieve? And what if you treated it like a project? What if you defined its scope, broke it down into smaller steps, and really thought about the time and cost? That might just be the key to finally turning that vision into a reality.